Welcome to the NACC Experience.
Welcome to the Faith Unbuttoned podcast. This podcast is an extension of Never Alone Christian Center and has been specifically designed to make faith transparent and relevant to everyday life. Again, thank you for tuning in. I'm so excited that you have decided to hang out with us on this Friday night. There are many things you could be doing, but it's an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure to be with you guys doing this new podcast that we're launching that's connected to Never Alone Christian Center, a new virtual ministry my wife and I, Chiffon, are launching this summer. I'm all about saving your time. So we're not going to waste your time tonight. We're going to get right to it. But I want this to be something that you all engage in, not only tonight, but on a weekly basis. We're going to stream every Friday at 7 p.m. You can check us out on the website, neveralonecc.org, as well as Spotify, and there are a couple other apps that it streams on, Anchor, Google Podcasts. Most of your areas where you can get podcasts, you can find it. Just search the Faith Unbuttoned podcast and it'll pop right up. But the most convenient way to do it is just go to the website, click on the menu tab podcast, and we'll roll with it. So, interesting subject tonight. I posed to you guys throughout the week for you guys to send questions about having a spouse or having a husband or a man in your life that's lazy. And you know, it's not unusual that you come across men that are lazy, or women as well. And don't worry, we're gonna address women as well. So, but I wanted to spend time first with the men, because I think it's so important that we learn how to serve our women and serve our wives. And I think it's so important that we shift from an atmosphere of being lazy or a character trait of being lazy. And when I posed the question, we got some questions back, and we're going to discuss those tonight. But I want to give you the areas that we're going to be talking about tonight. Now, throughout the course of the podcast, the chat should be open. You always can drop a DM. You can hit a direct messenger, or you can just email us. And if you have any additional questions, it may take us about 2 or 3 sessions to finish up this particular topic. Feel free to drop in and hit us up so that we can answer your questions. I'll do my best to answer them. Again, I'm no doctor. I'm no psychologist. I'm just a pastor. I'm a leader. I'm an overseer, and I've been married for 14 years. I've been in a relationship with my wife for nearly 16 or 17 years, and throughout the course of that, I've learned a lot. So I don't have all the answers, okay? So don't think these are all the answers. But what I can do is provide you what has worked for me, what has worked for those that I have counseled, and what I believe is scripturally based. What we have learned, and as I said earlier, as you heard in the intro of this particular podcast, is I'm trying to be transparent. We want to make faith transparent. As we were in a podcast last night with one of our buddies from college, the Unapologetic podcast, we were talking about the vision and the purpose and my character, my wife's character, and what we're trying to do with this generation and our generation. And it comes down to simply making faith transparent. So tonight, when we're talking about I love him, but he's lazy, listen, we have to be transparent. We have to address things for what it is. We've been faking too long. You know, we can hold hands in the mall and hold hands at church and in the parking lot, and we can take cute pictures on Instagram and Facebook, and we can paint this pretty picture that our relationship is great and we have no problems, but it's a lie. You know it's a lie. I know it's a lie. You know, but this is the type of atmosphere that we have developed, and this is the type of industry that we live in, and a type of world and society and culture that we live in, that everything we do is putting on a picture or putting on a show or putting on a video, you know, so that people can think one way about us, and we know it's not that way. So some areas tonight we're going to discuss. The first thing we're going to talk about is we're going to look at some studies that have been conducted on the subject matter of lazy men in the household. Some studies that were conducted over the last 50 to 60 years. The second thing we're going to look at is, because I'm very organized, and I want you to be organized in your life, and we're going to talk about that because organization is so critical to operating in a household and helping your man not be lazy. You have to get the household organized. We're going to get there. The second thing we're going to talk about is we're going to address or talk about the top questions that I received. There's 3 questions I want to talk about. These are the top questions that were received that I posed to you guys. What's going to happen with this podcast is when we come up with the subject matter and we present it, you got to go to our social media on IG or on Facebook, and we're going to put the subject matter up, and then I'll pose an opportunity for any questions that you may have. Everything is anonymous, okay? No one sees the questions but myself or possibly my wife. So we take the questions and we toss them into the podcast, and we use them as an opportunity to build and to develop each other, okay? And then once we talk about the question, we're going to talk about possible reasons why he may be lazy, possible reasons why your husband or your man friend may be lazy. And then we're going to look at areas to avoid, okay? We as in relationships, I'll say, a lot of times women get into relationships, and men too, and we ignore those red flags. And I want to talk about areas to avoid. Maybe you're single, and maybe you're looking to get involved in a relationship, and you want to make sure that you don't get involved with a man that's lazy, or a woman that's lazy for that fact if you're single. But you have to know what areas to avoid. Oftentimes we are our own worst enemy. Let's just be real. We are our own worst enemy. He looked good, he smelled good, drive a nice car, got a little money in the bank, got a nice house. He cool, he got swag, and we rock with him. And then next thing you know, he a bum. He a bum. He has produced an Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikToking, whatever social media platform you on. He has produced an image that doesn't reflect who he is behind the camera. Okay? So look at this. And then we're going to talk about some helpful solutions. And then I'm going to get to my final thought. All right. So let's talk about it. Keep in mind, listen, we said you love him, right? Because you love him, this is why this is so important that you get this information. Because the issue here is not love. Love, we know, is important in any relationship. Love is the foundation of your marriage, or should be the foundation of your marriage or your relationship. Love should be there. But as we all know, it's a relationship is more than love. Okay? The love could be great. The sex could be great. You know, you guys could travel around the world and all that type of stuff. But when you come home, there are underwear on the floor. There are dishes in the sink. The floor's dirty. The kids are dirty. The grass is up to the windowsill. So all that love is out the window, because now you are ashamed of the atmosphere that you live in. Or you're tired of being the woman or being the wife of this constantly having to pick up behind your husband, behind your man friend. Now listen, now I'm not a lazy person by nature, but that didn't happen overnight. I was raised not to be lazy, but I've always just been someone who has been attentive, because at the end of the day, I'm a servant. So that's why this subject matter to me is so important, because I want wives and I want women who are going to get married. I want you to enjoy life with your spouse, with your man. I don't want you to be so consumed with why he's so lazy and why you always having to carry the burden, okay? So let's look at this. Studies conducted on the subject matter of why he's lazy. Now, in 1965, we're going to go back a little bit. According to Leanna Sawyer of the University of Maryland, the average American woman spent over 4 hours a day on housework, while the average man spent just over 30 minutes. Now, that was 1965 now, okay? Now, we're in 2021. A lot has happened with women in the world, in our country, okay? A lot has happened with the productivity of men stepping up. We understand that. So things have changed, all right? Women's daily housework dropped by 1 hour and 45 minutes between 1965 and 2012, falling from 4 hours a day to less than 2.5 hours a day. So what happened between 1965 and 2012? Women went to work. That's what happened. More women went to work. Did that mean the man started doing more work in the house? Not necessarily. But women went to work and started making income and started making money. So when they started doing that, they didn't have time to do all the stuff in the house. So let's just pause for a second. It's 2021. You're married. You're engaged. You love him. You love him. You absolutely love him. He's everything you ever dreamed of. You were excited on your wedding day. You were excited when you proposed. You're excited now that you're dating. But it's just this one thing. He's lazy. And it may seem like a small thing, but a lazy man can become a lazy husband and become lazy in every other area of your life. And the question is, how much can you take? How much will you put up with him being lazy? How much would you put up with him when you come home, he's on the couch? Or when you're trying to chill, he won't do what's necessary with the children, maybe help them out or cook dinner or maybe make sure that the grass is cut and make sure the dishes are done or make sure the laundry's done. Whatever the case may be, because you're tuned in tonight because somewhere you have acknowledged that he's lazy. Okay? Now, I'm not trying to be hard on my brothers. I want them to be better. I want us to be better. Okay? Now listen, in a recent study, it has been shown that men aren't blind to dirt. They're not blind. Okay? A lot of women think that, well, maybe he just doesn't see it like I see it. Maybe he doesn't see the floor is dirty. Maybe he doesn't see the dishes in the sink piling up. Maybe he doesn't see the ring around the tub. Maybe he just doesn't see it. Maybe he doesn't see the dust on the blinds. Maybe he didn't notice the car was filthy and there's trash all in the car. Maybe he didn't see it. Stop taking up for him. Okay? He has eyes. He can see. He can smell. He knows the toilet paper out. Did he go buy any? He recognized that the paper towel was running out. There was no milk left in the refrigerator. He sees it. But I know he looked good. He looked so good that you are willing to overlook. But now you're tired. You're tired and you want to do something about it. Okay? So men aren't dirt blind. Men know, some men know that they're lazy. They can see mess just as well as women. They are simply less severely penalized for not keeping their spaces neat and tidy. This was a study done by a company called Fast Company. Now, let me give you an example. Now, those who know me, you know we have two children. Kalia just turned 12. She's our daughter. And Kenton the second is 9, and he will be turning 10 in May. Okay? So let's look at this. Now, let's use a natural example. Let's take their rooms. I promise you, I probably tell Kenton, our son, at least 20 times a week, man, can you clean your room? He has clothes on the floor next to the clothes basket. He now knows to make his bed. His school books are on the floor, pencils everywhere. He got his video game going, and he's just playing his game. And I walk by and I say, can you clean your room? It's not that he doesn't see it, but he has to be instructed to clean it up every day. Now he's getting better. He knows better now to clean his room up. When he tosses his dirty clothes in the clothes basket, they get them in the clothes basket. But why? He's 9, but since he's been 5 or 6 or 7, we've been telling him, clean your room up. Clean your room up. You don't leave the house without making your bed. You make your bed before you leave the house. Tidy up your desk. Put your controllers away. Turn the TV off. Turn the light off. Turn the fan off. Plug your phone up so it's not dead in the morning. Make sure you feed your fish. Wear your clothes in the morning. Your basket of clothes. Put them in your drawer. All of these things are taking place, and he's 9. Now my daughter, she's 12 now. I walk by her room maybe once or twice a week. Kalia, make sure you tighten up your room a little bit. Her bed is usually already made. Her clothes are in the basket. Her chair's pushed up to her desk. Her phone's plugged up. She even squirts the Windex on her mirror and cleans it up. Why? Because we taught her early on how to be neat and how to be tidy. And the reality of it is, in our situation, she got it quicker than him. And your man, your husband, is probably in that same category. The reality is, women are held to a higher standard, and men are not at times when we are raised. It's like Clea, I'm always telling her, put the chapstick on, make sure your clothes are ironed, make sure this is done, make sure that is done, make sure all these things are aligned, because women, young girls, are taught to be tidy and neat at a very young age, and men and young boys are not at times, and they're not as penalized by their lack of being lazy. So I can remember being in college, and the male's dorm room was always significantly more dirty than the women's dorm room. And it comes down to the simple fact that how we are raised, because it's a learned behavior. So now he's 25, 30, 40, 50, and you wonder why he don't make the bed in the morning, or why you come home and there's clothes on the floor. Okay, listen, laziness comes out even on national statistics. Right now, estimates of the non-participation rate in the workforce are close to 40%. What does this mean? This means almost 40% of people who could work are not doing so. So laziness in our country is apparently a problem. 40% of people who could go to work choose not to. This means that almost 40% of people who could work are not doing so. Now, this does not include many people who have legitimate reasons for not working. People with medical or psychiatric disabilities, for example, fall into this category. But even when we separate out all the people who have any sort of legitimate reason for not working, you still come down to a group who seem to have decided, I just don't want to work. Published by Psychology Today. All right. So we received some questions. That was the studies conducted on the subject matter. That's the behind the scenes stuff. Let's get down to being transparent. Let's talk about it. Let's just be real. And the thing about it is, if you're not real with yourself and real with your man or real with your husband, he's going to be lazy forever. He's just going to be lazy. You could pray all you want. We can lay hands on him. We can throw oil on him. We can do all of that. But if you're not real, transparent, he's going to be lazy. Let's rock. Let's see. The first question, one of the questions. How can I get my man to help me with housework? How can I get my man to help me with housework? This is a popular question that I get all the time. It's a question that was received. How can I help my man with housework? Well, the question really comes down to, I want to make sure I answer this properly and I take my time with it, is because when it comes to housework, a lot of men think it's the woman's responsibility. It's the woman's job to clean the house. It's the woman's job to vacuum. It's the woman's job to do the dishes. It's the woman's job to do the bathroom. It's the woman's job. Again, this goes back to the way many of us have been raised. How can you get him to participate? How can you get him to participate in the housework? How can you do? First thing you have to do is, and we're going to get more in depth with this, is with solutions. There has to be a conversation. You just can't bust in the door and be like, why the dishes in the sink? Clearly, that's not working. Why the house dirty? Why the floor dirty? What's this sticky stuff? Why the refrigerator dirty? What's that smell? Has that worked? All it's going to do is lead to some arguing and some fussing. Now, my wife will tell you, now communication is one of our strong suits. If we have a problem, we just deal with it, we talk about it, we get it out in the open, and we move on. That's one of our strong suits. But that has helped us over the last 14 years in our marriage to squash all the petty stuff because we talk about it. How can I get him involved? There has to be a conversation. Honey, husband, whatever you call your special person, I need help around the house. You have to come up with an action plan. But if he doesn't know that you need his help, how is he going to help you? You telling him, yelling at him, hasn't changed him. So you got to talk about it. Because remember, you love him. We're going to get more depth in this question. Question 2. How can I get my man to become more involved with the children? He just doesn't want to hang with them. They want to play basketball. They want to ride their bikes. They want to go to the park. But he just be chilling on the couch. I don't want to call my man a bum, but sometimes I feel like he's a bum. He don't want to hang with the children. Well, he's your bum. You picked him, or he should have picked you. But a lot of times women pick men, and then we are quote unquote stuck with them, and now we're looking for God to fix it. So we have to stop complaining and start fixing. Well, I've been praying. Prayer works. We all agree that prayer works. But the Bible teaches us that which is natural comes first. Something natural has to happen so God can step in. When we get to our solutions, we're going to get really into these questions here. I want to give you the third question here. How can I get my man off the couch? These are questions that we received. How can I get my man off the couch and off those video games? Tech Republic reports the gamer spends about 8 hours and 27 minutes a week playing games. Bruh, I'm not a gamer. My son games. I know a lot of husbands and boyfriends who game. 8 hours and 27 minutes per Tech Republic. That's a long time gaming through the course of the week. Keep those three questions in mind. Now let's talk about it, women. I know you're tired. Because you guys work just as much as we work now, if not more. 2 jobs, 3 jobs, 40, 50, 60 hours a week. You're in affluent fields now, very demanding. In a time that wasn't the case, but now it is. The expectation to share the duties, to share the roles, to share the responsibilities in the home are not unreasonable. But as women have evolved and taken on greater roles as parents, as mothers, and in the workforce, men haven't evolved. We still feel like it's the woman's job. It's her job to take care of the household. It's her job. Men, if you're listening, we have to evolve and we have to adapt to the current time in 2021. That means you might have to wash some dishes. You're going to have to clean some floors. You're going to have to do your part as a dad and take the kids out to the park, ride bikes. Yeah, you're tired. We all tired. We all got things to do. I know you want to play your games, but you'll get more out of your wife, more free time, more respect, more love from your children if you take part in the housework, take part with the children, and get off the game and off the couch and be a man. Oh, I ain't cleaning nothing. Well then, don't be mad when your marriage is unhappy. Don't be mad when she don't want to have sex with you and you've been a bum all day. Is that right? No. But women are emotional. They're emotionally broken because you're lazy. At the end of the day, you're just lazy. All right. Let's look at this. Possible reasons why he's lazy. We say we transparent. We're going to be transparent. Let's go. He's always been lazy. Possibly. He was lazy when you went to his house when you were dating. You saw those clothes on the floor. You saw his room was dirty. You knew his dorm room was dirty. You saw his car was dirty. When you got in the car, you had to slide the fast food bags to the side. You saw all the dust on the dashboard. You saw his clothes were wrinkled. He's been lazy since you met him. When you started dating, he was lazy. When you got married, he continued to be lazy. After you had children, he was lazy. So why are you now shocked? We're being transparent. Faith is transparent. You have to be transparent with yourself. You have to be transparent in your relationship. You got to be honest with yourself. But he looked so good. I know he looked good, but he was looking good lazy. He took his clothes over to Zips, knocked them joints out for $250, got them done. Whatever they charging these days. Got his clothes pressed, took you out on a date, went home, balled that clothes up, tossed it in the clothes basket. He missed, stayed there to the next date. He's been lazy since the beginning. But now you're shocked. You hear the saying, love is blind. Yeah, love is blind. You love him so much that you ignored all of the stuff that told you he was going to be lazy from day one. Possible reason he's lazy. Maybe his definition of productivity is not your definition. This goes back to communication. Back in 2016, I wrote a book. It's on Amazon. Just search my name. 10 Principles of Effective communication. We barely talk anymore. That's the name of the book. Check it out. 10 principles on effective communication. His definition of productivity may be different than yours. If you don't talk, how do you know? What you think may be clean as a wife or as the woman in the household, what you think is the acceptable level of being clean may not be his level. You may think that you're supposed to see your face in the mirror. He may think it's okay to see the toothpaste in the mirror. You may think it's okay that it's hair in the sink or in the tub or in the shower, and you may think it's a problem. He may not see a problem. But have you talked, or did you fuss? Why is there toothpaste on the mirror? Why is it this? Maybe your definition of being clean or your definition of helping with the housework hasn't been made clear. You got to be transparent.